Listen well, for love is not thirst when the pockets are full, but when the hands are empty. This is the story of a young man who had nothing but dreams, and a woman who chose him not for his words but for his heart. In a small village called Umede, there lived a young man named Chinedu. He was tall, strong, and hardworking, but his life was filled with struggle. His father had died when he was a boy, and his mother sold firewood in the market just to keep them alive. Chinedu had no lands, no house of his own, and no money. While others young men wear fine clothes and carried coins in their pockets, Chinedu wear tear sandals. People laughed at him. They called him poor man. Chinedu and many girls in the village avoided him. But among them was one girl, Amarachi. She was gentle, beautiful, and had eyes that could clean even the angel. Many rich men came to her father's compound with gifts, yams, goats, even bag of money. Yet Amarachi shook her head and said no. One evening, as the sun planted the sky orange, Chinedu was walking home with an empty basket. Amarachi stopped him on the dusty road. Chinedu, she said softly, why do you always walk alone? He looked down, ashamed, because I have nothing to offer. No girl wants a man who cannot give her gold or food. Amarachi smiled and placed her hand on his shoulder. But I'm not looking for gold. I'm looking for love, and I see it in your hearts. From that day, the two of them worked together. She followed him to the farm, helped him carry firewood, and even shared her food with him. When he was hungry, people in the village laughed at Amarachi. Why choose a poor man? When rich men are begging for you, they are asked. She only smiled and replied, a tree that grows in love will never die up. Years passed. Chinedu never gave up. He farmed, he worked, he prayed. Slowly, one day a strange came to the village looking for strong men to work in the city. Chinedu went. He labored with his hand, saved every coin, and after many years, he returned to Umede, not poor but a wealthy man. He built a fine house, built lands, and opened a big shop in the market. Suddenly, all the girls who once laughed at him began to smile his way. But Chinedu had never forgotten Amarachi, the girl who helped him when his hands were empty. He went to her father's compound with palm wine, yam, and gifts. Standing tall before the elders, he said, this is the woman who stood by me when I had nothing. Today I have something, but without her love, it is still nothing. I asked for her hand. The elders nodded, the drums rolled, and the whole village sang. Amarachi became his wife not because of the wealth he now had, but because she had already chosen his heart long ago. My people, listen again. The story of Chinedu and Amarachi did not happen in one day. It was a journey of pain, laughter, tears, and finally joy. Chinedu was a man with big dreams but small pockets. Every morning before the cock crowed, he would rise, take his hoe, and go to the farm. Sometimes he worked on other people's farm just to get a full tubers of yam and cups of curry. One day, as he returned from the farm, sweat covering his body, some young men from the village mocked him. Hey, Chinedu, they shouted, laughing, how long will you keep carrying other people's house? Don't you know that real men own lands? You are just a servant. Chinedu kept quiet, but inside his heart, he felt the pain. He looked at the toy cloth he was wearing and sighed. But Amarachi was always there. She would meet him under a big mango tree near the stream. Sometimes she bought roasted corn, sometimes a little palm wine her mother had kept. She would say with a smile, one day your hands will hold more than farm tools. One day you will hold blessings. And he believed her. But Amarachi's choice came with a price. Her friend in the village began to whisper, Amarachi is wasting her beauty. They said, does she not see that rich trader are waiting for her? Why wasting time with a man who cannot even buy her slippers? Even Amarachi's father, a respected elder, was worried. One evening he called her into his hut. My daughter, he said, you are beautiful and many rich men are coming to marry you. Why do you follow this poor boy, Chinedu? What future can he be? Amarachi looked into her father's eyes and answered, Papa, words can fly away, but a good heart will stay. I see kindness in Chinedu and I believe in his future. Her father shook his head but could not stop her. Now, my people, here is where the story becomes sweet and bitter at the same time. One day during planting season, Shedu borrowed a small pieces of land to farm. He worked day and night, praying for rain. But when the time for harvest came, locusts ate half of his crops. Villagers mocked him again. The gods do not want him to succeed. They have said Amarachi should leave him before hunger finish him. But Amarachi refused. Instead, she went with him to the farm, gathered the little that was left, and cooked for him. That night, under a moonlight, as they ate roasted yam, she looked at her and said, Amarachi, I'm sorry, I cannot give you fine cloth or gold. I only have this poor man's heart to offer. Amarachi had his hand and whispered, that is all I need. Some months later, Fat began to turn. A stranger came to Umede village. He was a trader from the city, looking for strong young men to help him with his business. The village elder gathered the youth, but many of them refused to go. The work will be too hard, they said. The work will be too hard, they said. Better to stay in the village. But Shedu, true Paul, was not lazy. He raised his hand and said, I will go. Amarachi supported him. She picked food for his journey and tied a red cloth around his waist for luck. Remember me whenever you go, she told him. He smiled. Amarachi, even if I cross 7 rivers, I will never forget you. And so Cherry left the village. The city was not easy. He walked under a sun, carrying heavy loads, sweeping shops and selling goods in the market. Sometimes he ate only once a day, but he did not give up. He remembered Amarachi's word, one day your hands will hold blessings. Years after year, he saved his money slowly. His life began to change. The trader they worked for saw his honest and made him a partner with time. Chinedu started his own small business from selling one bag of rice. He grew to sell 10 from one shop. He grew to 3. Back in Umede village, people forgot about him. They thought he would return poor and broke, but Amarachi never gave up hope. Every evening, she would sit by the mango tree and whispered, one day Chinedu will return. One early morning, the sound of a motorcycle was heard at the entrance of Umede village. People ran out for cars. We are not common in those days. Dust rose from the ground as a fine road entered, filled with goods. Behind it came another car, clean, shiny, and new. The villager shouts, who is this great man? Which rich trader has entered our land? When the car stopped in the village square, a tall young man stepped out, wearing fine clothes, his shoes. For a moment, the people did not know him. Then an old man screamed, ha, is that not Chinedu? Poor